Ya llegó el tiempo, es hora de vivir. Tienes que saberlo, que no lo voy a repetir. No me importa lo que crean, nada me va a parar. Está en mi mente, asegúrate, gente, que viene de mi corazón. Olvídame, el pasado me va a dejar por fin. De nuevo mírame, es bueno que vas a ver en mí. Olvídame, que el pasado me va a dejar por fin. De nuevo mírame, es bueno que vas a ver en mí. Ver en mí, ver en mí, ver en mí.
Let me bring out our next guest, which is my friend and a very talented actor, Tyler Miller. How you doing? Get settled in, get comfortable.
Great. How are you?
Good, really good. So let's take a different approach. Let's just jump into things. Are you ready?
I'm excited.
Is this your like a first official podcast?
First in-person podcast, yes. I've done a couple of virtuals, but they're not the same.
Gotcha. So it's like only the voice, not both.
Yeah, you can't interact with the real person.
A little bit more pressure.
No, it's actually a lot easier. I think the first time I did it was, I was in a car.
Oh, yeah.
And I was on my phone, and it was like 100 degrees out, and trying to shade all the sun out.
Was the car on?
Yeah, I had the car on, but I don't want to run the gas because I don't know how long this podcast is going to be. But it's definitely not as enjoyable as this.
Awesome. Well,
I mean,
I'm
I
glad
just
you're comfortable.
joined, but
It's true. But you know how much went into this setup, and you also helped out. So thank you for being a part of the growth of this new podcast.
My name is Tyler Miller, and I am an actor / model. I have been doing it for about 6 years now. Actually acting, for the first couple of years is more the growth and figuring out how to do it, the industry, if you even like it.
Right.
And then after that, everything else is, building connections, being on set, enjoying it, learning how to act and what to do, go to classes and stuff like that. So a solid 6 years, I'd say.
It's a good amount of time.
But I've been doing it. Well, I started when I was in college. I had no skill. I knew nobody in the industry. I had no ambitions to do it. I grew up playing soccer and throughout high school and my whole life, actually. And so I was, into sports. And then something in college, I just always had that interest for the industry, watching a movie or to have, like, different questions to ask.
Always? Like since a child? Or when did that start?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say yeah, but it was just nothing to, like, really dive into because I was just so, everything was sports and, there was travel and school and, that's kind of your life, which is, I don't, that's why I loved it.
Practice, games,
yes,
lunches.
Yeah, and obviously I would, if I went back, I would do it all over again the same way. So I don't regret it at all. But, in college, you have a lot of free time and you're trying to figure out your life and figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I, just went online and did some research and, the first thing was get some headshots or get some photos, professional, and look for some agents. And
Did you take those on your own with an iPhone or a personal camera, or did you hire a photographer?
I paid a lot of money for a photographer because I was like, what, let's just go all out.
You're like, let's skip a few steps.
I mean, that's the way to go.
Okay, cool. I love it.
So I did that, and I think they were good. I don't know. I submitted, online and waited, and I've heard back from a couple agents, got some interviews. There's a lot of scams out there. That's something that's very important that I
Yeah.
had no idea about. Lots of scams.
Did you submit for an agent first, or did you submit for opportunities first?
Definitely agents, because I didn't even know where to look for opportunities. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
Yeah.
free stuff out
Yeah.
there, but nothing's free.
Which websites do you use now?
For acting, it's my three main ones are Actors Access. For acting,
Is that your number one?
that's my number one for acting. And then
Hey.
for a lot of freelance stuff, also there's Backstage.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites. Actually, I've been using since I started, and it's grown a lot. And there's a lot of good projects on there. And then for acting and modeling, when you have an agent, you'll get casting networks.
Casting
so you're
networks.
familiar with that, I'm sure.
Okay, so in the order that you name them, is that how you would prioritize them yourself?
No, I don't think I have a priority on any of them. It's just like, whatever is available, I kind of submit for, and so like it just for acting specifically, Actors Access is like a lot of good, like you get like name, like there's Tyler Perry like TV show auditions on there that I saw. There's a lot of Netflix stuff, Amazon stuff, so stuff that you can't really get on Cast Networks. Mm-hmm. But Cast Networks is good for agents because there's stuff that you don't have access to that they do. Mm-hmm. And then for Backstage, there's a lot of freelance stuff that you don't have to get, commissions taken out of. But
Gotcha.
like I said, great projects on Backstage. I highly, highly recommend it.
Awesome. Well, if we had to categorize each of those three websites into film, TV, commercial, UGC, which I know that you have experience working on all types of projects like that.
Yeah, I mean...
So let's start with Actors Access. You said that first. What would you say the principal opportunities on that website are?
So you're going to find that's if you're really interested in acting. I mean, not like modeling, not like commercial acting. Like film, TV, that's where you go. I mean,
Actors Access.
Yes.
Bam.
And you're going to find quality projects. And you can submit throughout the country, and that's definitely where to go. For more commercial stuff, that's where casting networks going to like really benefit you.
Okay.
And then Backstage is just a little bit of both because you're going to get a lot of, student films and some, depending on if you don't want to do non-paid stuff, there's stuff on there. But there's like I said, there's solid projects. Everything's background checked, so there's no scams or anything like that. That's essentially what you're paying for.
Right.
To make sure you're not scammed.
Yeah.
Everything's background check, and you don't, meet up to a shoot and it's like some random like crazy person.
That would suck. Right?
But those are the main three, and like I said, I don't have a priority. I just I submit to all. More opportunity, the better. That's the way I see it. I would also recommend keeping up to date with your social media. I can't tell you how many jobs I've gotten to people just reaching out to me. Like, it's free, and you can just upload all your content on it, and then people see that. I mean, Instagram, specifically Instagram, that's the one, and people don't really use Facebook nowadays. But for this example, just keep up to date with your portfolio, make it look nice, make sure you always quality stuff.
It's a
on
free
there.
resume.
Exactly, and people can reach out to you, and I've had that happen so many times. Referrals, DM me, and then they send me my profile, and back and forth and stuff like that. But so many different times, and it's free.
Wow. And you've booked work through that, huh?
Yes.
That's huge. On my end, I've both booked work, and some people have asked, "Hey, what's your social media?" Because we're still considering you. So it plays that big of a part.
Yep.
Does it happen to you?
I've even had castings ask for your social media. I mean, that's just the world we live in. They want to see what your presence is like. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. But it's, how hard is it? If you're in the industry, you have to learn to like it. That's what I believe.
Right. It's almost like you can make some decisions, though. If your Instagram is very personal and not tailored towards you as an actor, you could say, "Oh, I don't have one." Or if it is the way you have your Instagram, I've seen your Instagram is very tailored to getting opportunities, I feel like, for you, then you're happily like, "Hey, yeah, it's this."
Yeah, so... I guess I see it as if you're going to use it for business. I mean, in the stage that I'm at, just keep it for business. Don't put your personal life on there. Create another account. Create another account. You can have many accounts as you want. Just create another one and like follow family, friends and then you post on it. Your kids, your life, trips and stuff like that. If you want to stay, and then make it private. And then for your business, because essentially you don't want to mix the two together. I mean.
Yeah,
if you're starting out,
this is good advice. I mean, I'm taking your advice because, like, right now, I would say mine is geared more towards opportunities like yours in business, but I do mix some personal stuff in there. And now you're making me think, oh, do I need to have a separate account for that so that it's like...
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, I
Yeah.
see. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, if that's what you want, don't like distract people. Like, it's almost like doing a self-tape or an audition. And how many times you're going to see, don't have like a door, or don't have like, your dog. Like, people just don't want to be distracted. By
Right.
things. And it's just like, this is the, get to the point.
Yeah, true that.
I've actually recently, if you could look, when you go on my account, I've actually restructured my Instagram. And so now it's, I've done like every other motivational, like, quotes, and then, content, motivational quotes. So it's like, it looks really cool. I just started doing it, but it looks nice.
It is really cool. I've seen the past couple. You've done like a couple, right?
Yeah, 4 or 5 now. And so eventually right now I'm just using other people's quotes, so I think, it just helps out. But eventually I think I'm going to start doing my own and,
Ooh.
just tailor my own quotes.
Dang.
I think that's just the way to go. I'm just, going to start somewhere, just structure it, and then go from there.
That's awesome. Can you tell people where to follow you so they can see this growth and these ideas flow?
Yeah, yes. So I mainly use Instagram, and my handle is @T3Miller. Yeah, it's not private.
That one's public. You have
It
to
is
earn the private
not
one.
private. So go follow and
That's
share.
awesome. I'll make sure I add a banner so people see how that's spelled and everything, and go follow him, people. So, what was your first major acting role, and how did it come about?
Okay, so my first major acting role was, at the beginning of acting, I did a lot of, I feel that a lot of actors, when they just start, they do a lot of extra work, because you have to learn about the set, if you even like being on set, how everything is, done. Mm-hmm. And so I just was doing like so much extra work, and eventually it's like, okay, it gets old real fast, but I do enjoy it, and I was learning a lot. It's so when you're on set, it's really what you take from it, mm-hmm. especially if you're doing the extra stuff, because you're not really doing much.
Yeah.
So
show up, be positive,
exactly.
help out.
And you're like that blur in the background, and you're like,
but you're so excited.
No, you're so excited.
Yeah.
Depending on how many you've done, eventually it's just like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Well, did the thoughts start to trickle in where you're like, oh, I can do more than this, and then
obviously, I think that's for anybody. They're like, oh, I want to be the guy like on camera, of course.
Yeah.
But you got to start somewhere. That's how I always feel. So I can't remember where I applied from or how I got it, but I got an extra role for it was a show called Bloodline on Netflix.
Wow.
I think it was about 5 years ago now. I mean, this was like very beginning, and I was doing an extra work. It was filmed in the Keys, Florida Keys. And so, drove down there. It was 2 days, and, if you've ever done extra work, you're in your waiting room waiting for your time to go on with all the other extras.
Right, it's a group usually, like cattle call type.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, munching on the snacks.
Right, hanging out.
But at the same time, you're having a good time, and it's like, because when you do go on set, it's super exciting.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh wow, this is like
It's energy.
It was Netflix,
I made it.
And I'd never done anything like that, so I, like I said, booked an extra role through that, and I was waiting there, and they came up to me, and it was our time. It was me and another kid, and his name was Ryan, and they said, so I need to talk to you two. I'm like, okay, sure. And so, are you gonna be okay with doing X, Y, and Z? And I was like, okay, well, what do we have to do? Just like, get to the point.
Yeah.
He's like, well, basically, you're gonna get screen time. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. Say no more.
Say less.
Let's just, well, let's do it. And then he's like, okay, so who wants? I kid you not. So yeah, he's like, who wants the more screen time? Are you really gonna? Are we gonna like fight? Do like rock paper? Like,
not everybody though, but people like you, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like, we weren't talking. It was just screen time. I was like, okay, let's do it.
So how'd that play out? This is super important for me, so maybe for other people, but tell me how this played out. So they asked you this, your heart pounded hard, and you were like, go for it.
Well,
Take it from there. Or whatever it was.
For me, I was like, oh, I don't want to be the guy. Maybe I'll be the nice guy and like, oh, he can do it. But I was
okay, you had a moment where you're like, give it to him?
In my mind, I was like, no, I raised my hand. Let's do it. He's too slow,
How many seconds would you say in between where you're like, okay, maybe like, does he want to? And then where you were like,
30 seconds. I mean, it was just more of like, am I ever going to get this opportunity again? That was really what it was. And it's like, you know what? And we both were getting screen time. It was just more of like, who's going to be focused on? Because he was just like next to me. So when you go watch the scene, essentially it's a night scene when we were on a bus. And so it was not it was a big set, but there weren't a lot of extras. There was just us and then the main talent. And his name's Kyle Chandler. He's a big time actor. And he was it was actually the coolest thing ever because
Wow.
we not only did I go in for extra work and I got bumped up, right? But I got contracted by Netflix. First time I've ever like got it. I didn't even know what contracted
Wow.
meant, but I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're like.
I got like they like basically your name goes at the end of the credits. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And I was at the end credits but the coolest thing, looking back on it is that yeah, I got paid and I get to be on Netflix and whatever, and I get to tell people that, and that is cool. Don't get me that is really cool. But as an actor, what I took from it, so we got to spend 2 days with Kyle Chandler, who was the lead in the series, right? And we were on a bus, and it was in Florida, and it was hot. And the bus was not moving. They made it look like it was moving. They had like a little rocker. I swear, they had like a fan blowing the rain. I mean,
That's cool.
And they bushes moving past. I mean, like I swear,
hurricane.
They made it look like it was raining, and we weren't even moving. We were sitting in like a parking lot. I swear to God, but it was really well done.
Sun shining, middle of the day.
And
you said it was night, right? A night shoot?
Was night.
Okay.
And we shot all night. It was probably, we started at, I think we got there like 8 o'clock. We got there like 8 o'clock and we finished at like 5 in the morning.
Wow, that was
2 days.
a long night.
Oh, they do all. Yeah.
That must have been fun.
Well, I mean, that's how you do night shoots. I mean, I've done a couple of. I mean, you have to film overnight. You can't replicate the night.
You're not gonna be like, I'm done at 1:30 p.m. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is too late. I'm like, there's no hours for acting. I mean, you film all night. If it's a night scene, you're filming all night. That's how it is.
Yeah, commit.
So we spent 2 days with this well-known actor, and I've worked on a couple other extra sets with like The Rock and Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway.
Really? You're gonna have to tell us about those too.
But obviously, it depends on how big the set is and everything like that to determine like the circumstance. But essentially, he stayed on set with us. So even whenever like it was his time for his like stand-in to come in, they were adjusting the camera. Mm-hmm. No, he stayed there the whole time.
That's cool.
He was talking with us, asking us what we were doing about acting, like how he started. He was telling us tips on how he started, what he was doing, what he recommends, and so I'm like, I'm getting paid to talk to professional people would pay for this opportunity. Yeah. And I'm getting paid to do this, and he's talking back with us, and hanging out with us, even when we went to go eat for like lunch. I mean, at like 12 o'clock at night. That was their lunch. It's like lunchtime. It's like, no, it's not.
Breakfast.
He would eat with us. I mean, he didn't go back to his trailer and hang out and by himself and whatever actors do in their trailers. Yeah. He hung out with us, and it was just the coolest experience ever. And I just I always talk about it because it really was as an actor. Some people could think that it's not that cool, but I think that as an actor, it was the most amazing opportunity that I would never get again. Well, I mean, eventually in the future, but I look back on it and I don't regret it for a second.
That's huge.
So that's why I've told people, don't ever not do extra stuff, because that's not the first time I've been bumped up, and it happens all the time. And even if you're not bumped up, who cares? I learned so much more from doing extra stuff, because if you're waiting your whole life for an opportunity and you're sitting back and just like, man, I can't get it like the lead role, I can't get a supporting, I can't get anything, like it's just like, I'm not, maybe not good enough. Okay, that's fine. You just you have to train and go to classes and stuff, but you can you have the opportunity to at least be on a set and to work, and you're still it's not crazy. You're not retiring or anything else. but like the fact that you're on set, and if you like it, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you could be on a professional set every day with like a name actor, and you can, and the coolest thing is networking. I mean, sure, you know all about that. But, I mean, networking is the most important thing as a up and coming actor. Be everybody's friend. I always say, be every single person's friend. I mean, and talk to the producer, the director, the AD. I mean, like, you see these people. You will see these people all the time. Whenever they say the industry is small, it really is.
It's true.
I see them all the time on different sets, and they remember you. You know what I mean? Just like you remember them, even though they see they probably see a little more faces in the day than you might. But it doesn't matter. People will remember you, especially if you're talking to them and you become a likable person. Yeah. And so that's why I say networking is so if you're an extra and you're not gonna be on screen, you're not gonna be on screen unless you get bumped up. Right. You're learning everything on set. So I was like, what other thing can I get from this? Well, I could talk. Well, I mean, this is another opportunity. I can't talk to these people if I'm not on set. Right. So why don't I take that opportunity there while we're eating, go eat with them, or like while they're having a break. Obviously, don't go in the middle of shooting. Hey, can we talk?
Hey, can I pull you aside
Or
for
just
a
walk,
cut?
just walk. Like, what is this guy doing? Yeah, don't
real.
do that. But take,
Yeah.
read the room, read the people, even talk to the extras. There's a lot of extras that have just as many experiences that you and me do, and
Yeah.
every single one of them's different. Everybody has advice, and everybody has the same like-minded. When you're with like-minded people, it's the coolest feeling in the entire world, and it's almost like you never want to like leave. And it's like this, I'm getting paid to this. This is a job,
Right? And I'm hanging out with this cool actor and
yeah.
all
And
these
it's-
little things.
it's
You're
super-
networking.
And then you've been on set. When you leave, you could have like this, like these butterflies and this coolest feeling ever. It's like you want to like take on the world.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. And I'm like, man,
Agreed.
I want to do this all the time, And you can. It's just where you put yourself out there and make sure you're
Yeah.
submitting, and eventually down the road you do start limiting yourself, like what you're submitting to. It's like
Right.
I'm sick of extra stuff. I want to like do bigger stuff, and I understand that's totally an understandable thing. But at the same time, don't put yourself here whenever you're here.
Yeah.
Be super realistic. You have to know where you are. That's why like when you do acting classes, you see like the level, and you can see where you are, and you're like, oh wow, I'm definitely here. I want to be here, and
Yeah.
you have to be super real with yourself.
Hyper aware.
You cannot. What's the word? You cannot like put yourself above other people.
Right.
Whenever you're not there.
So when you're beginning, be eager to learn, be eager to show up, even if it's not for a lead role, obviously.
Yes.
But like humble yourself to show up for those extra roles and watch and like look around and see how things work.
Because everybody's there for that same thing. So it's like, it's very obvious. Everybody knows that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But your time will come. If you put the work into, let me just put it that way. I can't say you can't sit at home.
Ooh, so that's part of the formula. We're gonna make a formula today for all the people aspiring to be actors. That's part one. Is
You have to like listen. I mean I've only been there for 6 years, but I mean it's enough to know that if you put in the work, it will pay off, and it's not gonna. Don't expect overnight and fame.
Yeah.
Or
put in the work. You listening, guys?
And I'm serious. I'm serious about this. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
When we talked about Gary Vee.
Yeah.
I mean, like I only speak from what I've lived through, and I know that it has happened, and that's how. And I believe that's really how things work.
Yeah. Put in the work. Part one.
And be patient. That's another one.
Yeah.
Because people they do not have patience these days. And I was like, I don't know how people get through anything if they don't with no patience.
Well, being humble helps with that, I'm sure, because if you
Yes.
see where you're starting out and you see the different levels that you can climb, it's going to take time. It's like people talk about wanting overnight success, but the people who have reached that level of the people who have reached that level of success know it wasn't overnight.
No. And, all you see nowadays are these overnight sensations and, success.
That's what it
and-
seems like anyways, right?
Well, that's what all social media shows you. Why would you want to broadcast failure and the work, the hard
Right.
work? I mean, that's essentially what people would want to see, though.
But the real part of it is that's part of it, right?
Yeah, and then so there's all these up and coming people, younger generations, and even older, and that's all they're almost brainwashed to see. So then like they get so upset.
Right.
How come I'm not there yet? So and so just did it in like a week, and I've been working my whole life.
Right.
How's that fair?
Do you think that's that could be part of the reason why a lot of people who have interest or who kind of get started end up quitting?
Yes, that for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
And I know that because I've had that feeling.
And what got you through that?
Obviously, I've talked about specifically acting. It's just really going back to like the roots of why you started doing it.
Your why. What's your why, Tyler?
The why is really being so humble. You gotta be really humble about everything, like you said, and really going back to what I just said, why you even started in the first place, and
Yeah.
that is not instant success. If your why is I want to be an overnight sensation, or I want to be famous in a month, you're even 2 months or even a year, that's unrealistic.
With nothing else to back that.
But if that's
Okay.
your first thought, failure.
There's got to be more to it, huh?
Yeah, 100%. And but that's how a lot of people are. Like I said, when you're scrolling through Instagram or anything, all you see is like all this fabulous, great
Yeah.
stuff, and you never really. That's not the reality of life.
Oh yeah, people want to show up to one audition, think they put all this work into driving to get there, and they want to book it. And if they don't book it, I've heard people bring up they want to get paid for having driven there and done the audition. I'm just like, wait, what? Like, not only do you have to show up for the audition and yeah, you're not getting paid for it unless you book it, but like show up again and again and again and 100 times and 1,000 times.
So don't get me wrong, it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
because,
It's not easy.
it's not, who wants to fail? Like, who wants to not be accepted or who wants to not be picked for something? But to do it over and over and over, knowing that is the industry, that's just how acting is. And you go to auditions. I mean, like you hear, interviews with even, A-list actors, when they were first starting. I mean, they've gone through hundreds,
Oh yeah.
if not thousands of throughout
yeah.
their life of auditions.
Same.
And but all you need is that one or two.
Exactly.
That's it.
Game changers.
It's not like, oh, I need like 25. No. You need one or two. And then everything from there trickles off.
Yeah. So keep showing up.
Depending-
It could happen after the 10, 100,
Yes.
1,000.
Yes. But I always tell people, okay, so you're on your second year. Well, you got booked for what? Two decent jobs, not small like stuff that like doesn't really count. Like decent jobs that you would like to put on a resume. That's like notable, right?
You're proud of.
And you're like, oh, that sucks. Okay. Now I'm like, okay, what have you been doing in those 2 years? Oh, well, I've been going to classes. I'm like, okay, so how many classes have you been going to? Oh, 2 a year. 2 a year, okay. So what else have you been doing? Oh, I got some headshots done. Okay, that's great. And I did all like 100,000 auditions. Okay. And now nothing changed, right?
Yeah.
And you did nothing different through all those 2 years. So now you're going your third year, the exact same process, and you're going to get the same results.
Right.
No. Well, yeah, that's what's going to happen, because maybe you might get lucky. But wouldn't you want to increase the odds in your favor by doing something different, by going to more classes, talking to more people, doing different classes, acting, doing free content? Great. I highly recommend doing free content. That includes photo shoots, videos. I mean, anywhere where you could be on
Be
camera.
a team player.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, but it goes a long way, and it helps you. Yeah, nobody wants to do free stuff, and I totally agree to that. I mean, it's hard in the society we live in to do anything free, but it does go a long way if you want to make it past the next person. Because then you're like, if you're comparing you and then like 3 more of you, but they're all doing more than you, how do you think that you're going to surpass them? Yeah, you might get lucky, but if those 3 other people that have the exact same resume as you are doing 3 times as much as you, those are the ones that get booked, and those are the ones you're gonna see, and you're gonna be like, man, how come that's not me?
Right. Stack the odds in your favor.
And that's what I'm talking about. You never see why is that not me? It's just, oh wow, they booked this, they booked that. But the reality of it is you have to put in the work. And that could be our luck.
For the people who won't put in the work, you're going to hear this, oh, I'm not booking, excuse. For the people who are putting in the work, you're really not going to hear anything. You're going to see the results.
No, yes. And like I said, I'm telling you, you have to be patient. You cannot just say, oh, well, I just did a class, and I just did more photos, and I just updated my portfolio. It's nothing.
It's never enough.
It's been a month. Oh my gosh, these people are crazy.
Where it sounds like someone like you're challenging yourself. You're talking to yourself in a sense of, hey, you've been doing all this is great. What more can you do now?
Yes, it's always, there is more you can do. And yes, it's easier said than done. I'm the culprit, because that happens to me. I say it all the time. And sometimes when I first started doing it, I'd be telling people all this advice, and I would never be doing it, and they would be benefiting from the advice.
That's really real.
And it's very, I was talking to a lot of people, that happens. But at the same time, it's just like, you really have to put in the work, and you have to focus on what you want to do. And if you really, really are driven enough on what you want to do, I can't say that you're going to become famous. But your odds will be better. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And you will meet amazing people.
Oh.
Point proven.
I almost didn't even catch someone. I'm like, that was so sweet.
You will meet amazing people. And we did a Super Bowl commercial. That's how I met her. And we can talk about that later, but
That'll for sure come up.
it was, just to meet amazing people and that will help you out, and as long, and you help them out, and it's just a mutual relationship, and you will, and obviously mostly you're going to enjoy what you do. If you're in this for money, if you're in this industry for money, just leave.
Just stop right now.
Just get out.
Quit while you're ahead.
Because with anything, you can't do anything by being money driven.
Yeah.
It's just not reality.
It's an important factor, but it can't be your why.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It's on your mind, but it can't be like, oh, I just want to make $1 million and be famous. Yeah. And I was like, no, that's not why people are acting.
Yeah.
That's not why A-list actors became where they are.
Right.
They truly like it and enjoy it, and it becomes like so much easier. I feel like within the industry, you know what I mean? Things
Absolutely.
become easier when you are enjoying things. And then, so that's what I definitely recommend.
That's awesome. So you would say that advice goes across the board for any aspiring actor, beginner, intermediate, advanced level.
Oh, well, not even in acting with it. I mean, just in life, you just have to enjoy. I truly believe that if I would truly say to people, I would do a job, right, that I love, acting, over some corporate job that's going to pay me $300,000 plus a year with benefits and da. No, you can. I'd rather go do that short film that's going to pay me like $100 a day.
Same. Is there something wrong with that?
Any day of the week, and I'm not just saying that because we're on a podcast and I want to that I'm right now. If I had the offer, I'm telling you that's one pick.
Yeah.
I'm not. I would never want to do that. Never want to do that.
Talk about authenticity.
I mean, would you?
1,000%.
I mean, hey, some people, they love that. They love the corporate ladder, and that's for them. That's great. But like 1,000%. I said, you have to enjoy it. You have to really, really love it. And acting really just does that. It's just something about it when I go on set. I just get this feeling. And, I know you know everything about it, but
that's
for the
okay.
audience.
They might not, right?
No, for the audience, they, it's an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
So would you say to anybody aspiring, there's so much more to gain than what it is you think you're going into it for?
Yes. No, there is. I mean, it's that and anything.
Friendships, experiences.
Yeah. No, I mean,
memories.
Everything that I mean, stuff that I can.
Life-changing opportunities.
Everything's like popping in my head. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, it's amazing.
It really is.
For the little things that I've done and bigger things that I've done. And funny because the smaller projects I've enjoyed way more than the bigger ones. But it's just...
Go figure.
Yeah.
It happens though, right?
No, all the time.
What would you say is your biggest, or what has been your biggest challenge in a role or in an opportunity that you've had yet as an actor or model?
Biggest challenge, huh?
Take your time to think about it. That's a loaded one. Hi, buddy. Hi, Kovu. Hi, sweet Kovu. Hi, Icy.
The biggest challenge...
We have visitors. Go ahead.
Hi. The biggest challenge that I've had is definitely when I get roles that are not I don't want to say that I'm not comfortable with, but it's not like my go-to role. Like stuff that's like out of your, I guess you could say, out of your comfort zone.
Okay.
And for me, those are like the things that like also why I like the whole acting process is that you can get out of your comfort zone, and it's a good thing. It is not always, it's not saying, oh, it's a bad thing, because
not to say it's not a challenge, right?
Right. And I do love that feeling of doing something completely different that's not me. And I think that it's definitely difficult. It's hard because you obviously it has to be real, be realistic to the audience and yourself. So I like learning about, because my go-to role would be things that you're comfortable with, things that you see is like, okay, this is me, but you do that naturally. That's already what you do. But when you do things that like people have never seen this side of you, it's exciting and challenging at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's definitely hard. I can't say it's not easy. It's not easy. And I haven't really got I haven't booked a whole lot of roles like that, but I do submit for them. I do audition for them, because if you don't, you're never going to get the role.
It's true. You're never going to put yourself in those out of comfort zone opportunities to grow, right?
and every single time I do that, you are learning and building from each audition you do. You know what I mean? So you're like, oh, and the next time I can do this, or the next, this. Yeah, sometimes you don't always get the feedback from who you submit and hope for the best. But
true.
You can show it to your parents or friends and say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I do, and I show it around. At first, when I first started, I was like, oh, I don't want to show anybody. This is terrible. About it. But you have to be. You have to want to show people, because as an actor, you want to entertain, and people are essentially want to watch you. So it's like, show them. Who cares? It's like how bad it is. It might even be great, and you just think it's bad because you're always the worst critic.
Just what you think is not what everybody's going to think, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're always your worst critic. You're like, oh, I don't like, that's not my face, or like that's the worst side of me.
Right.
It's like, this is acting. They see all sides of you.
True.
Well, mainly the face.
So a question popped up in mind with what you're talking about, and in real life, obviously, I know you. You're awesome. You're so sweet.
That's the role that I go to. Yes. So the roles. I'm not sure you're gonna ask me what roles are out of my comfort zone.
Yes. Have you ever played a role out of your comfort zone? Have you ever played like an asshole or?
No, I haven't yet. I've auditioned. It's just like I said, I'm still in the learning process for that, and I haven't got there enough to make, because obviously, when people are auditioning, there's other people auditioning as well, and sometimes there's people that's their go-to. Yeah, so you're competing against their go-to. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
It does.
So you're competing with that, but at the same time, so I have to learn to also make it authentic.
Bring that out of yourself. Bring that side of. Do you think that side of yourself exists?
They do. I think all sides of people exist. It's just what they really are comfortable with showing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, it's also what you've gone through, experienced in life, I feel like, as well. So it's hard to say
True.
I think it's really, really impressive how younger actors are able to bring out these emotions where older emotions of relationships and crying and death and all this stuff that they probably haven't even experienced yet, but they're authentically bringing it to the screen and oh my gosh, that's I'm getting touched by this.
Yeah.
That's essentially
imagination.
Yes, and that's essentially what I feel as an actor we're supposed to do to the audience. That you're supposed to feel something. Right? Yeah. That's not just supposed to be is he really sad? He doesn't really look too.
Yeah.
I don't want to be slightly thinking he's not sad.
Shouldn't evoke a awkward feeling for the viewer. It should be oh my gosh.
Yes.
It really happened.
It's not who's doing or what they're doing. It's just the whole of everything, the whole process of everything, and it's oh, this is great.
Right? Can you convey?
I'm crying.
Right?
It's not oh, this is Tyler. It's this is so cheesy.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously both seen performances go both ways, where it's a little awkward, it's not resonating, it's not hitting, it's falling flat, and then someone who's you're sobbing, you're trying to hold it back.
Right, and that's the beauty of doing work that smaller projects and work like that, because it's almost like training paid training. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're not getting paid that much, but you're acting. Yeah. Acting's acting. If you have a camera in front of you and you memorize lines and you're doing it, doesn't matter. Yes, I guess you're not with Ben Affleck. He's not your
even if it's just you in your bedroom with the iPhone.
But it's just the process of acting, you're still acting. So if you can't do that, how do you think you could go into a Netflix film or an Amazon film and then millions and millions of dollars are dumped into this project and then they give you lines and here's the camera and they say action. I think it should be different.
You got to be bold.
It's oh, well, if I was on that set, I'd be better. How? Explain that to me.
Start now.
I was you can't even act when I hold a camera in front of you and I give you easy lines.
You got some work to do.
That puts into perspective. You know what I mean? I feel because if you've never been on a set, that's one thing. And then when you actually go on your first set, that's it was very exciting. Let's just say that. But it was also a lot of learning.
It's invigorating.
Yes. I mean, a lot of learning. And it's great, though. It's really, really good. Yeah, obviously it's not your best work, but, it's the amount of stuff you learn being on a set is incredible and something that you cannot teach. It's a rush. better than any acting class will teach you. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you pay. It doesn't matter who it is that's teaching you. I mean, just being on a set, acting with other actors that do the same thing as you, and then there doesn't even have to be a camera. Just doing it is better practice than any class.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm going to add to that. I'm going to say that if you're listening and you're taking his advice, which you should. Also, if you're there, if you showed up, that's half the battle, but pick up a stand. Ask somebody how you can help. Go grab a producer a coffee. go pick up some coffees from Starbucks for the whole team because everybody's dragging ass because they've been up since 5 a.m. You know, like we talked about this last episode with our guest, Chris Martell, who's also our new video editor. Shout out to Chris Martell. But anyways, we talked about being pleasant. He talked about being pleasant to work with.
Yes.
And how important
that's
is.
huge. I mean,
You brought that up.
I hear about it all the time. I mean, with other podcasters or even just people on set, like who are like, oh, even working with A-listers, how many times you hear like, oh, they're terrible to work with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand. They keep booking jobs.
Right. There's something to that, but that's for another episode.
Yeah, it's probably the business of it, and they're making them millions of dollars. They don't care.
Right.
But no, yeah, but being pleasant is like a no-brainer in my opinion.
Absolutely. Across, not just acting, right? Like life.
Who would want to invite you back if they couldn't even like deal with you?
Nobody, unless they want something from you.
Yes, of course.
So this spills into audition life. Being pleasant is going to be helpful in the audition room as well, right?
No, definitely. I mean, kindness goes so far, and it's the most underrated thing. Nobody likes to talk about. You can't be the nice guy nowadays. I gotta be, no, be the nice guy.
Yes.
Like, what do you have to lose? Yeah, obviously, you can be firm when you have to be firm, but like overall, you want to be like, oh, that guy is awesome.
So audition tip 1: be pleasant, smile, act like you're happy to be there.
Yes.
Like you're appreciative to be there.
Be kind in life. Not just the audition room.
Right.
Please don't just be kind in the audition room. Be kind in life.
I love it. Well, beyond that, is there any special way that you prepare for the audition? Do you have any special techniques that you want to share with people that works for you?
No special technique, I guess some advice. Okay. So when you get, depending on what your deadline is, obviously, what's the easiest thing when you get a deadline and you get sides is, oh, look I got 2 weeks to do it. No problem. I'll get it done.
Second to last day.
Yeah. Well, no, in your mind, you're going to do it early. I'll do it the first weekend. Just knock it out,
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got 2 hours. I got 2 hours.
Shit, it was due 3 hours ago.
I can't find a reader. I'm scrambling to remember the lines.
I've been there. I'm gonna be honest.
Everybody. I do it. I still do it, and it's a bad habit. Don't do it. Bad habit. Do not do it. So my advice is when you get the sides, obviously depending when the deadline is, usually you have more than a day. Most auditions. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's 24 hours. But I will say on those rushed call auditions, you have a better chance of booking the job than if you have 2 weeks. Because those rushed call, say there's 10 other people you're competing against, maybe only 2 are submitting because nobody's available.
Good point.
Happens every single time. When I see a rush call, I jump on it because my chances have already increased.
That's huge.
Already increased. So, but in general, when you get sides, what I first do is I highlight all my lines, right?
Okay.
I read through all my lines first. So I go through, and then what I go through, now I want to understand what I'm saying and what the other person's saying. So then you can read through the other person and what they're saying. But what's really, really important is those subtexts, like when it describes the scene of like what you're doing. I can't tell you how important those are, and people just skip through it. Like, oh well, I know the lines, I know what's really going on, but do you really going on? Just read those because it helps so much. Like, because that's essentially what they're probably looking for.
Can you give them an example? Because I know what you're talking about. They might not.
Let's see if I can give you this. So, say there's my line, right, and then it'll say, I don't know. It could even say like it'll describe like maybe what I'm doing. Like maybe I'm like fishing and it's hot out and I got like this like I don't know, like I'm uncomfortable because I'm getting like there's all these like bugs bothering me and whatever not. And then like there's now the person that's talking to me that I don't know is there. Maybe they like approach behind you and they sneak up on you. So your reaction to replying to them is not going to be, oh hey, how's it going? No, it's they snuck up on you. Oh, someone's calling.
Oh, we have a caller. Do you mind if we take this call?
Yeah.
Hello. Who is our lovely caller this evening?
Hi, my name is Isabel.
Isabel, thank you for joining Arigato Vibes Live Episode 6. So do you have a special question for our guest, me, for the animals? Oh, no, we don't have any in here. Surprise, surprise.
For once.
Just a question for Tyler.
Oh.
I'm ready.
He's born ready.
Tyler,
Yes.
what do you like more, acting or modeling?
So for sure acting. I got into the industry through modeling, so I definitely don't down modeling. But so I got into the industry through modeling, and I just learned it was just not really something I was too interested in. So I told my agent, I said, hey, let's try commercial work. So that's the next step. Did some commercials, like, okay, this is really cool. Like I like, the whole video aspect of it instead of taking photos. And then I was like, okay, let's do some extra work. And then, got on set and I was like, okay, this is definitely where this is what I want. And then I like it because you can, when I first went to the example of an audition for a model is you walk into a room full of, and then you're like, okay, your call time is or your audition time is 11 o'clock. Show up all the way, well, for me, it's Miami. Go drive an hour south, right, to Miami. Show up to this room, right? 5 or 6 other guys just like me, if not better. I'm like, oh my God, they all look like me. I'm never getting, look at that guy, dude. He looks way better than I do. I'm never getting this job. So you're sitting there and you're just waiting there. And then, so, they call you in. I'm like, okay, it's my turn. See you guys. See you, Tyler's. And then you go in there and then like, hey, talk to the photographer and maybe the director, whoever's there. And I'm like, hi, my name's Tyler. And like, okay, we're taking some photos. Take like 3 or 4 photos. Okay, nice to meet you. We'll call you if you get the job. That's it. Oh yeah, that's it. We got 4 or 5 photos, and then if you hear from them, you do. If you don't, then you don't. Whereas acting, you can, first of all, you could train it's a craft. It's not just the look. I could go get plastic surgery and look like whoever I want.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a craft, and you have to, go to class and train and get better, and you get better, and also you show your personality and you get to talk and that's all that me as an actor or being in an industry, I love that so much more. I think that's so much better, and I just enjoy it.
It goes beyond the pose, basically.
Yeah, but I've also met, it's not just about being in camera. I met models that just hate acting. Like, they just don't like being like, oh, I can't do scripts. Or, that's fine.
Very individual.
Stick to modeling. And I'll do modeling, don't get me wrong. I can still do it. But, acting is just, that's what I like. How you can show your personality and, you can have fun with it and you interact with other people and create this whole world.
Yeah.
Whereas, modeling is
right.
posing and that's it. All right, bye. Nice to meet you.
I feel very similar. Everybody might feel their own way, and you said that yourself. Some people might hate the acting and love the modeling, but that's how you feel, right?
Yes. So the answer to your question is acting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Isabel, for calling us and asking that question. We're gonna hang up, but thank you for tuning in and join us again next week. Awesome. Thank you for answering that.
No problem.
Do you remember where we were before we got the caller?
I do. I think I was talking about, I was describing what the subtext was. And so, fishing and sneak up on me. But if you don't read the subtext and then you just jump into your line, could you imagine if you're supposed to sneak up on me, right? And you grab it and I'm supposed to react to that, right?
Right.
But imagine if I'm just oh, hey, how's it going? What? Did he not read the script? What is he doing? So it's those little things. There's so many different ways I can be oh, hey, how's it going? Or hey, how's it going? I mean, there's just it's the same dialogue, same script, but it's reading the subtext and what the whole situation is of what you're acting about and what the scene is. That's essentially what it is. It's super important because that's what they're looking for, and it totally throws them off if you're just oh, hey, next. I mean, that's how it is,
right?
That's really how it is, and that's so learning the script, learning reading through it, and then the next step would obviously be memorizing your lines. That helps a ton. Make sure you memorize your lines because you could tell when you don't know your lines. So after that, read it with whoever you want to read it with, your mom, your dad, friend. Just go back and forth. And if it's a long script, what I'll do is I will memorize the first page fully. So we're going back and forth. Okay, let's do it again. Back and forth. Do it again. So it's memorized. All right, next page.
Get it down.
Back and forth till page 2 is memorized. 3rd page, memorized. I'm okay, so I have 3 pages memorized. Now let's go all the way back to the back and let's do all three pages. And then I'll do all 3 pages. And then do all 3 pages. And then, depending how long the side.
So it's just your memory tactic.
Yes. It
Technique.
took me a while to figure out because there's so many different ones.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
that's what I do, and it helps out. I feel like I learn it a lot faster rather than
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, I got 6 pages. I'm never gonna remember 6 pages. And yes, it is very intimidating, but you shouldn't get 6 pages aside. Just saying. There's
Yeah.
it should be shorter. But
It might
still.
happen, but it's not the norm.
Right. Eventually, depending on how big the casting is, and if you go further down, maybe the callback might be 6 pages.
Right.
Or the second tape. But anyways, so that's essentially how I do it. And then once I get that done, I'm like, okay, let's go practice it on camera. Because for whatever reason, I mean, even to this day, you throw a camera in front of me, it's just like a whole different like for
Yeah.
anybody, it's just like a whole different scenario.
Changes the energy, right? More
And it
pressure.
shouldn't be, but it is. And
Something about
eventually you learn to overcome all that. But then I do that, and then I also learned you can't really critique yourself as far as like, oh, it's not my good side, left and right, my hair's not good. It's 'cause
Yeah,
essentially-
let other people worry about that, right?
Right, and they're not really looking for that because they already gave you the audition. They saw your photos. They know what you look like.
Yeah.
They're not looking. They want to see your acting now.
Get out of your head.
Yes. So they're like, so basically don't focus on the look so much or like, hey, my hair is not proper. But what
Yeah.
also helps sometimes is, it as a mental and for the whoever's watching it, dress the part. Don't go too much. Don't do too much. And they'll even say that a lot of times. Don't do too much, but just do a little bit to where it helps yourself get into the scene. You know what I mean? So like if it's like you're supposed to be in like a suit and tie and you're wearing like a tank top, and then it's just you feel different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just feel not
Be the
same.
character in every
and it'll
way that
help
you
your
can.
audition out
That's big advice.
and the scene, and it'll help you really get into it. And then it's like, oh, okay, this looks way better now, rather than like, what is he, wearing a tank top for? I mean, whatever. I mean, if you're a solid like actor, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But if you want to help out your chances, I do recommend dressing the part. And then, and then that's really how I do it. And you just do the scene a couple times, so you have like 3 or 4 different takes that you have, show it to like, hey mom, what do you think about this one? Dad, friend, which out of the 4 do you like?
Right.
Because don't always go by your own opinion. It's like, what are the audience like? Because it's usually always the audience that's looking, not you. Because you always will critique yourself so bad, and it's usually not the winning take. It's where it's like everybody else likes this one, but I like this one. Why is that? Well, maybe because I don't look as good in the other one. But it doesn't matter.
To you.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So
this is more tips for a virtual audition.
which is
right?
the industry nowadays.
Right. Exactly. Post COVID.
There really is no in-person audition. I mean, I haven't been to an in-person audition since 4 years ago. 4 years ago now.
For those who are going to an in-person audition, what advice would you give? What would you tweak for the in-person audition? You don't usually get more than one or two takes.
Yeah, 1 or 2 takes.
So what would you say?
A lot of in-persons are either cold calls. Cold calls are terrible. Hate them to this day. And then if they're not, obviously have your lines memorized, because then it's also the same thing, and it's kind of similar to the modeling. You walk into a room, there's like five other people auditioning for the same role as you, same scripts as you, and then you're waiting there in the room, and then Joe Schmo's in the room doing a scene. You can hear them usually. It's not like
Right? Does that
it's
make
a
it
small
so much
room.
worse?
It's
for
even
some
worse.
reason?
It's like, oh my gosh, that's how I was gonna do it. I can't do it that way.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've thought the same exact.
Oh my
thought.
god, then I gotta change it, but then it's like, oh, wait, I actually like it that way, and maybe they like it that way, and then it's just like, oh gosh. So it's terrible. I hope they never bring back in-person audition. Although, after you do, down the road, if you do get like a callback, and then they want to see you, and they will see you in person. So you will eventually get in person, because you're gonna have to meet them, and they will have to do like.
Right.
Depending on how big the film is, you have to do like screen tests and
anything to
chemistry
ease the nerves.
tests. Ease the nerves.
Because I feel like this applies even more so to the in-person callback, like you said, or the in-person auditions that are still happening.
Personally, I don't have a lot to ease the nerves. It's more just repetition and being comfortable with doing it.
Do those usually ever get the best of you, or you have your nerves pretty under wrap?
So my nerves are under rep for the most part. It's mostly they could be a little bit better, but I've learned that the more you do something in your mind, you are more comfortable with it, and that like I've already done this type of scene before. I've already done this before. I've done this hundreds of times. Like it's like there's no difference. And don't think of it as, oh my gosh, this is like this is a Netflix one, whereas the other one might be like nothing. Treat every single audition the same. No matter don't think of it as like, oh my gosh, this is like these are big time people. Because those little projects could be big time people. You don't know that. There's a lot of big time directors and producers that do small stuff. And you have no idea. And there's so many people like that out there, and you don't know who they know or who they're recommended or who's part of the project that they haven't told you about. And it happens all the time. So treat every single audition the same, big or small.
Yeah, that's huge.
Obviously, it's a big audition. Do more homework, but
treat them all like they're big.
Exactly. That's exactly.
And it sounds like you were talking a little bit about visualization there.
Yeah. No. I mean you have to treat that way, because if you don't, you're just not. And then at the end of the day, your nerves are gonna get the best of you sometimes. It just happens, and it's like human nature. But
thanks for saying that.
No, it's true. I mean,
it's helpful.
But it really is.
People.
The more you do something, it's like trying something new. Of course, you can be nervous. You've never done it before. What I mean, some people are just really, really good at managing it. Don't have any problems. But for example, this is my third podcast. I was a little nervous at the beginning. I was like, oh gosh, never done a live podcast.
You warmed up into it, right?
When you're doing it and you become comfortable and this is easy. I mean, that's really how everything is.
It's like sports. It's like singing. Yes. It's like performing. It's like what we're doing. Gotta warm up.
Right. And if you know that you're good at what you do, you shouldn't really have a problem. You know what I mean? As far as the nerves wise. But but don't always put yourself on a pedestal. Make sure, be humble about it, and just go in, do your best, and that's the best you can do, because you don't even know what they're looking for half the time.
So the nerves are very, very human thing, like you're saying.
They are. They're something that you just they get the best of you sometimes.
Just try to transform that nervous energy into excited energy, even if you're just telling yourself at least, right?
Yeah, and even do things that work for the auditions, the more do self tapes when you don't even have self tapes. Why not? You have all these sides. I can't tell you I have a stack. I probably folders 20
monologues and
20. Yes, I mean just throughout the years, just getting them and just redo them, refilm them. Why not?
And if you're wondering where you can find all this content, literally go to Google or ChatGPT these
sides.
days, or what was the one you told me about? The other Gemini
or Perplexity.
And Perplexity, and type in, hey, give me 10 monologues I can work on this week.
Yep. So monologues is a little bit different than sides, but
and sides, yeah.
Monologues are a little bit of a struggle for me. I just don't do a lot of monologues.
Okay.
So for me personally, learn them both, because it's both good to know how to do shorter scenes, back and forth with the character.
But you don't have to come up with them yourself, right? You can get them, so you can just get started.
A lot of film will be more back and forth with a character, whereas if you're doing theater, you're gonna get more monologues. Some films they might want to do, but then again, keep in mind that there's a lot of scenes where you will have a monologue. You see it and you don't know it, but if you go and watch your favorite TV show and you're like, oh wow, they've been talking for a while. Yeah, now imagine how long that was in writing.
Right, a few pages.
Yeah, and then so it's okay, that's a monologue. So it's good to practice both and to know how to do that. So I do recommend practicing both, and like I said, they're free, and then just do them. If you want to get better at something, you have to do it.
Practice.
You just can't be like, well, I got 5 auditions today. Got one next week, and then a month goes by. I did 6 of them. Okay, well, you could have done 30. I'm like, what do you mean? You tell me you couldn't do one a day? How long does an audition really take you? By learning everything, doing it, preparation, everything like that, no more than a couple hours. Well, if you do it enough.
Right. The first one maybe, and then it'll take less and less time.
Right. But you don't even have to film it. Just memorize it. That's practice.
Just do it.
Memorize it. Just reading a script and dissecting it. That's practice. You don't have to do, just do step by step. Okay, so today I'm going to go through a script that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Let's go through it. What do I think about it? Break it down. Okay, cool. I learned something new. And then you go to the next one. And then, okay, now today I'm going to memorize it. A different one. And then the next day, you're going to film it today, just see what that looks like. And then everything's practice. Everything. You don't do it all at the same time. It's like, oh, well, I don't have time to do all that. You don't have to do that all. eventually when you get in a real one, you have to do it all, but if you can master every single one, then when you get an audition, it's so easy. It's I've already done. I do this all the time. It's boom, 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 and it's not the miserable. Oh, here's an audition. I gotta find time. It's gonna take time. It's no, just knock it out, because it's I do this in my sleep.
It's an opportunity to get better.
Yes.
Practice.
Yes.
But you could book it too.
And if you don't, well, then you're gonna be that person that's wondering why Tony over there that looks just like me keeps getting booked and I'm not. Simple as that. It really is. And I see it all the time. I see the people that like are doing really well. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're doing a little bit more work than I have. Okay, that's on me, and I have to put more work in. But they should inspire you to do more.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be
absolutely.
like, oh, I'm jealous, super jealous. And that is a human element that I hate, and it happens. It's natural.
Yeah.
Where you're like you get jealous of stuff like that. But at the same time, I turn it into inspiration because it's like, okay, I want to be there.
Yeah, instead of being envious, you start to ask yourself questions like, hey, that's awesome. What are they doing that I can implement? Right.
It's so easy to do it.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Don't necessarily compare. See what you can take from others in terms of inspiration to apply to your own bag, right?
Right.
That's awesome. So I want to talk about our commercial, but beforehand, are there any projects that you're working on solo that are coming up that you've already worked on, that you've recently worked on that you want to share with your viewers?
There is a project I've done. I was a lead. Well, yeah, I was a lead in the movie. Well, supporting, one of the two. However you look at it. I was in a movie and I was the lead / supporting.
Love it.
It hasn't come out yet.
That's huge.
It has not come out yet. It's gonna be a feature film. Don't know where it's gonna be streaming yet. It's still in the works. The title's still in the works as well. But when I have more information, I will definitely release it out to your social media
we'll
and stuff
add
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
That's but it was a when I've probably filmed it once now, 3 or 4 months now ago, and it was very exciting. We filmed it in Florida, so it was local. It was cool. I didn't travel too far.
That's nice.
And same thing like I said before. I met great people. Still in touch with them today, and I learned so much. And just the acting side of it, and it's cool. Even you're on set, you get to see the behind the scenes stuff and how like the director does stuff and the producer and stuff like that. If you're interested, not everybody's interested in that, but I was and am, and so I get to learn a little bit more than I have in other films. And so I do have that coming up.
That's
I'm
really
excited about
exciting.
it. Yeah, so
I don't know anything about it, like besides what you just said. Like I don't know the title I'm saying, or like, but I'm excited.
when I have all the information, it's so new that like I don't have that much to say.
Yeah, no, but I mean that is a lot to say about it though, because a lead role is hard to book.
No,
especially for a
Yes.
project that's like pre-produced, planned.
Yes.
There's a lot of intention behind it.
And so it's like an independent film. So, obviously it's not like I was in like some like Netflix thing with like The
Yeah.
Rock or something like that yet. Otherwise, it'd be a lot, it would be, already out there. You can just look it up. It's already out there. But, these are the things that build your career, these little projects. And they're so important. And when you get a booking like that, take advantage of it. You cannot let it slip through.
It's gonna go on your
just be like,
reel.
oh, well, I'm booked. I don't do anything now. No, you still do the work. Still put in the work.
You're getting your feet wet as the lead.
Yeah, or any part of it. It doesn't mean you're just support. Even if you're a day player. I mean,
Right.
how many times you see like A-list actors are like, oh, remember they were a day player on this, and that.
Yeah.
Do
Or even
those.
the extra. Get your
people
feet wet.
do day playing roles. I mean, those are huge. You still get lines. You get
The
screen
co-star
time.
roles.
You get to work with professionals, depending on what you're doing.
You might get
But,
a line.
hey, you're acting. You know what I mean? Just submit for everything. Don't be too picky. Oh, well, I'm not getting the lead. I'm not getting the supporting. Who cares? Just act.
Show up.
I mean, do extra stuff.
If you keep putting in the work like you said, and that's your intention to be the lead, if it will happen if you're doing all these things that you're talking about.
Right.
But you can't quit.
Well, you can. If it's just not for you and you just don't like it anymore.
Well, you can. That's so true.
You
Well,
quit
you can.
whenever you want.
I love that. It's up to you. No, that's true. I mean, I've heard. I think one time I heard like Seth Rogen talking on some podcasts about how it's a tricky business. It's possible you might not ever make it, but might
that's with
increase your
anything.
chances if you don't quit. You can't quit.
Everything's a risk, but you gotta put time and energy into it.
Yeah.
And then the world kind of like maneuvers its way around it. It's kind of funny how it happens. It's like whatever you put your energy into. I don't know if you've noticed it, but
I have.
Things just doors open and things happen that sometimes you don't even know are going to happen. So it's like
That you're not in control of.
Right. It's sometimes hard to maneuver your energy into multiple things, but you do your best.
Yeah, absolutely. Are any other projects?
Nope, that's what I got coming up.
Cool.
But as far as like big projects coming up.
And he's been working a lot. That's just the ones that he brought up. Like he's been booking like crazy. He did one with a bike a couple days ago. What was the company called? I think it was like an outdoor
Gosh, I can't
accessory
remember.
company. That's okay.
I don't know.
It was dope though.
No, it was.
The shoot looked really good, and the actress that you worked with looked awesome. And
Yeah, and then I've done the one I was telling you with what was it, Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway. That was not too far away from here. That was in Coral Springs.
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So I did that one, and it was extra work, but I was like, I don't care. I want to work with Ben Affleck. I don't care what I'm
be
doing.
on the set with them.
That was if that's all that's available. I don't care. Sign me up. And it was like, a cattle call where there was lots of extras and it was big sets.
Yeah, it's a big set.
It's pretty miserable, but when you're on set,
You were there.
it was cool because it was also a period piece. I don't know if you know period pieces, but it basically means like it's like a time period piece, and so everything is like makes it look like the time of I don't know what it was.
What was, do you know the decade it was?
60s, 70s.
Oh, that's cool. So everybody was dressed a certain way. The set was set
Plain,
up.
boring. Everything's gray.
That's cool.
Baggy clothing.
Yeah,
and
you go back
long
in
hair.
time
Nobody
on
had
those
spiked
sets.
hair. I mean, yeah, I was. So it's weird that part. I mean, the whole process of it. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I'm like, not
Yeah.
doing much, but like, even as an extra, they like dress you the part. Like they'll do
Yeah.
your hair and makeup, and they'll make you make sure, even though you're the blur in the background, you know.
Yeah, this is big
But-
budget.
I got some screen time for this. This was another one I was talking
Oh,
about.
you got to show me the footage.
I
from
didn't
this.
get credited, but I got screen time. It was like the intro to the movie, and like
What movie is this?
it's called The Last Thing You Wanted. The movie I don't know if did so well. I haven't even seen the movie.
Doesn't
but
matter.
the acting's great, obviously.
Okay, I'll have to
Affleck
watch
and
it.
Hathaway. And yeah, there was like the very beginning, and I was like, but see, like those are the opportunities I'm talking about. Like
That's
every single
exciting.
time I went in for nothing, and like, hey, well, you want to do this? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. It sounds like the intention within you is so strong that these opportunities keep finding you and you keep finding them.
Yeah, and I think the coolest thing, I mean, I'm sure you know this with the industry, is that you don't even know, like every single week. It's like, people that go to their 9-to-5 jobs, it's like, oh, they know the same thing every day. Every
Yep.
week's gonna be the same, maybe a little bit different, depending on who you got to deal with and what problems you have to deal with, stuff like that. But for like, our industry, it's like we don't even know what's gonna come up like next week or the next tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everything, every day is like an exciting like what's next? Like what?
It's true.
I mean, it's really really cool how it works like that.
Huh, well, on that topic,
Uh-oh.
I feel like that's how a certain opportunity played out for us both.
Oh yes.
Do you want to tell our viewers about it?
You can start it off.
So Tyler and I were in a Michelob Ultra commercial together.
Yeah, we can officially say it's been out for a while.
It's been out for a while. Not breaking any rules. It aired during the Super Bowl, which was really, really cool.
Yes,
And we
it
got
did.
to work with one of the biggest athletes in the world, which was really amazing. And we made friends for life.
Well, a couple different. We worked with so it was Leo Messi. We worked with Jason Sadowski.
Jason Sudeikis?
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think it's his. I think
geez,
it's.
I'm really
We'll
bad.
correct it either way. I'm sorry.
I'm really bad at names.
He was so awesome too. Like, dude, we love you. It's just the last name is tough.
And who else was there? No, we didn't really get
Dan
to work
Marino.
with him. We didn't really get to work with him, but he was there.
He was in the commercial, yeah.
Yeah, but and then obviously everybody else that we met on the set that was featured.
Our family.
Yes. It was an incredible opportunity. So me personally, I wasn't even supposed to be in it. So I did audition for it like everybody else did. But, everybody else got callbacks, I think, from talking to everybody. And then, but I didn't. And I actually got a text message or an email, one of the two, from my agent. And they said they want to book you. I'm like, oh, I think it was and it was a Sunday night at like 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And the call time was the next morning at like, I think it was like the day we had to go to the beach to like
Yep.
rehearse everything. I think
My
it was,
cheeks hurt
I think it was
hearing
like
this.
5 a.m. I'm like, oh, I mean, I can't pass this opportunity. I was like, yeah, everything in
goodness.
my schedule is getting crossed out. Like, I'm making it. Yeah, yes.
Wow. So
Yeah,
the night
that's-
before.
And good thing I had my phone on me because, like, I could have not had it, not responded. She could have, like, reached out to somebody else. Or,
Oh my goodness.
So just like I said, it's just funny how things happen and like it just worked out that way.
Have
So
your
it was
phone on you.
Totally like so in the industry, that when you audition and they give you a deadline of like, oh, this is when we're making our selects.
Yeah.
And then that date comes up, and then if you don't hear anything, then you didn't get it. And then sometimes
Right.
you'll see like someone will post like that did the same audition, and they're like, oh, call back. You're like, oh, didn't get the call back. So I saw that, and I did see that people were getting the call back for. I'm like, okay, I know I didn't get it. It is what it is.
So don't do that, even if the date passed.
Yes, there is hope. There really is hope. Even if you don't get the call back, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Things happen.
They could call
I don't
you
know
10 minutes before they freaking start the whole shoot.
I don't know what the reason was to this day, but it doesn't matter.
Somebody does.
Yes, it happened, and I got to meet amazing people that I still know to this day, and I hope to see them soon. Well, everybody.
Yeah. I know, right?
But it was an incredible opportunity. I think it was 7 solid days.
A week.
Of course, Messi was on set for 3 hours in 7 days. I'm like, how does that work? He's like the theme of it's crazy. 3 hours.
Oh man.
But hey, it doesn't matter. It was a great opportunity. It was fun.
You played soccer.
We
played soccer.
We got paid to play soccer.
Football.
I've been training my whole life.
Messi.
I've been training my whole life for this moment.
Yeah. I mean, we're both athletes.
Because
We
like if
both
I
played,
didn't play soccer, that would have never got submitted. At the end of the day.
Because you had to do some skills for some kind of
Yeah.
self-tape, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
same.
did go in for an audition.
Did you go in person for the audition?
I did.
And
then
what did you have to do?
What did I have to do? So you slated, and then you just said briefly stated what your background is in soccer that you could have totally made up.
Yeah.
Background
Can you tell
checking.
people what a slate is real quick?
A slate is it could be a couple different things, but the standard slate is for acting at least. You say your first last name, your location, your agent sometimes, unless it's an independent booking. Then you do your profiles, and then sometimes you show your hands. You do a full 360, full body shot. But that's your standard slate right there. And then of course sometimes they'll throw in the commercials, like throw in what do you like to do for fun, and all this like
Personality
stupid
questions,
stuff that like they don't really care about. They just want to hear you talk.
Yeah.
So that's your standard slate. So I did that. I told them, your background in soccer, which I totally, like I said, you could totally make it up. Yeah, I was, in the MLS, and I retired a little bit.
Yeah, put believability into it, obviously.
Yeah. And then, so essentially, they're like, okay, now here's a ball, now show us what you can do.
Oh my goodness, they did that to me too.
I was like, oh man, I didn't really expect this to be in the audition, but I was
What'd you do? What was your first go-to?
I was like, listen, I haven't touched the ball in like 5 years.
You said that?
I swear. It wasn't on camera, so
Okay.
I told it to the guy, and I was like, listen, I haven't touched soccer ball in 5 years, but hey, let's go for it. And hey, I did a lot better, so he threw it to me. I trapped it, did some juggling. I wasn't like professional or anything like that, but it was good. I didn't wasn't looking like all crazy. I mean, it was good enough to make, they still submitted it.
Yeah.
And they considered me, and I, eventually got the role. But hey, it was there's always hope. There always really is hope.
It really is.
As long as you just fake it till you make it.
As long as you what?
Fake it till you make it. I hate saying it, but you know what?
There's so much
Sometimes
truth
it
to
works.
It's not foolproof, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of truth to that.
Don't
I'll
fake
vouch for it.
everything.
But hey.
You can't fake acting, unfortunately. It's very obvious.
No, but for real, with a lot of things, unless someone's asking you to do precision driving, stick shift, and you don't know how to drive a stick shift, obviously don't put how to, because when you show up and you book the job and you're sitting in the driver's seat and they're waiting for you to do it, you're gonna get blacklisted.
Well, I have
potentially.
a story about that one.
Oh,
I
let's
have
hear
a
it.
story about that one. Unless you want to, I don't know if you're gonna get off topic, but I could quickly tell you.
I would love to hear it.
I actually was working with David Beckham, and yeah.
I'm glad we didn't leave this out.
Yeah, it's coincidence that it has to do with soccer.
Right.
So it was a booking for I was gonna be his stand-in. I was like, okay, I don't really do much, but that's cool. I get to basically hang out with David Beckham, be his stand-in. I was like, I don't look like him, but so since you're his stand-ins, you don't have to look like them. You just have to be the same height.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it basically,
It's not like a double.
no. And how it works is that you stand in as long as you're usually the same height, and they adjust the camera on the angles, the lighting, so that the lead doesn't have to sit there in the heat and then all right, are we done here? Sit there for like 35 minutes, and then like, all right, call him in, and then I go off to the side, and then he comes in and does his thing for 30 seconds, and he's out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what a stand-in is. They just stand in every time so they can adjust the camera angle and get it all ready for the lead.
Gotcha.
So I was standing for him. It was a photo shoot, so it wasn't even like a camera, And I was like, whatever. And so the only one requirement was you had to know how to drive a motorcycle.
Okay.
And I was like, I could pull it off.
Oh my gosh,
like,
a motorcycle?
Yeah, and I have no idea. I was like, it's a photo shoot. So in my mind, I'm like, maybe they won't even drive it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, who cares? It's David Beckham. To be honest with you, to be honest with you, it was one of those things where I'm sure you've had them. I'm like, I'll submit it. I'm not gonna get booked for this, and anyways, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's just like, let's just submit. Like, why not?
I've done it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've done it.
So I got an email the next day from my agent, and she said, "Oh, so they want to book you. You can drive a motorcycle, right?" I'm like, I'm like, I can't pass this opportunity.
Because what were you gonna say at that point? Oh,
yes, exactly. No,
to your agent that you're building a relationship with.
So I'm like looking up online, I'm like, how hard could it be? Just trying to find all these videos.
You're YouTubing having a motorcycle?
So I was a little nervous. So I'm like, man, I hope this isn't
gosh.
like his actual one. And I'm like, totally.
This is like dangerous.
Or like, I'm going to just totally like drop his more. Because they're heavy. It's not like.
Right.
Like,
this is
heavy.
not even like your bike. Like.
And so I'm like, whatever. I guess we're just going to make it till we make it.
Wait.
Just got on set. It was a small set, but it was, a big production just for a photo shoot. But it's David Beckham. So I don't really know exactly what the brand was. He was collaborating with somebody. It wasn't really his brand. He was just collaborating with somebody.
Okay.
And I was like sweating, like I was nervous because I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I get to meet David Beckham and hang out with him. But at the same time, like I'm done. I'm gonna ruin his bike. I'm gonna crash. And they're gonna be like, I'm gonna be something blacklisted, or I'm just gonna kick me off. Something bad's gonna happen because like I lied.
it's gonna catch up with you.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then,
my goodness.
So luckily, I mean, not saying this happens every time, so don't lie. I got to the set and the bike was not moving, and all I had to do was stand there with it, and they set up everything, and then he came in, and I was just that was it. I didn't.
Thank God.
He did drive. So keep in mind, he did drive the motorcycle on other scenes because they did do some video.
Really?
Like drone stuff and like.
He did.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's a big motorcycle guy. It was like a vintage. I don't know what the brand was. It wasn't like a brand name. It was like a smaller company, and he was collaborating with somebody.
Okay, dude, you
But
got
it was really
scot-free.
cool. It was really cool, but I didn't have to drive it. That was the important
Thank
thing. I did not
God.
have to drive it, and I got to meet him, and that was it. And that guy, I made it past safely.
Fake it till you make it.
Yes.
When you fake it till you make it, there could be a risk as such. You might get lucky as such. You might not. So just keep in mind that risk, right?
Yeah. Right.
That was a good one, though. All right, so let's jump back into the commercial. Is there anything you want to share about your experience that you want your viewers to know about?
I mean, overall, it was one of the better bookings, I'd say. I mean, you can both agree too. I mean, it was definitely life-changing. For everything that we learned, people that you met, the experience. I mean, that one of the days, there was literally 100 extras, I think. And it was like, I've never experienced anything like that where like you're a principal and like there's 100 other people that want to be in your position. And then, because we've been in those positions where like we were that like 99th extra and like, I wish we could be, how did they get booked? I want to be, how did they get this job? And, and so to be in it was cool. And obviously, you always be humble about it and don't, take it for granted. But like, it's cool. You see a lot of people that I knew a lot of the extras. I'm like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I did too. It was really cool.
And we got to talk and stuff like that. But we did like everything from drones to I mean, these drones were ginormous, keep in mind. I mean,
oh my goodness, the biggest drone I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, they had to have like,
borderline like
20,
a helicopter.
20 propellers on it. I mean, it was incredible.
It was huge.
Loud.
Yeah.
It was like a helicopter landing.
It was.
Remember?
They had a little helipad for it.
Yes. And
incredible set, incredible people to work
we
with,
had a dog
incredible
on
production
set.
team.
We had a dog on set. That was the second time working with an animal, and I think it's really the coolest things when you have an animal on set.
Very talented animal.
Obviously, we got to meet Messi. Yes, it was an amazing experience. For this short amount of time, we got to meet him. But I mean, even after that, it was just the commercial came out phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, and the full version should be on there, or it's even on their Instagram. Michelob Ultra is the company, and just look up Super Bowl commercial of Messi, and it should pop up. I don't know what the exact name is, but it will pop up. And yeah, I mean, it was an incredible experience that, like, you know, I don't think either one of us would ever say that we're gonna forget it.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I don't know if you have anything memorable that stood out for you.
Just adding to what you said, you know, it was incredible. And sure, maybe we didn't spend the week long that we spent filming the commercial with him, but wouldn't you agree that the time we did spend with him felt like longer than a
my
week?
gosh.
Like the seconds ticked by and we were all like a bunch of little kids just so excited to play our favorite sport with our favorite player.
Well, so the funny thing is that, like, I mean, from my circumstance, I've met, you know, we've not met, but like we've been on set with A-list actors before. And for whatever reason, this one was so much different. I don't know why, but like it's just like meeting him was like an incredible, like, I mean, maybe just because like we both, you know, grew up playing soccer and like that was like our life and it still is our life. And then we grew up knowing who he was and what he is and what he's accomplished and stuff like that. And to the peak of where he is now, that's when we met him, is crazy.
Surreal.
And I don't know, it's just, yeah, I think everybody on set was the same way. It was just in awe.
Yeah.
I mean, it just was like,
I mean, people can argue with me all day long, but he is the number one athlete in the world right now.
yeah, for sure. And keep on, he doesn't speak that much English. So it's like, not like we had conversations back and forth, but he was,
He spoke some.
yeah, he understands it. He's have you seen like him talk? And he's trying to like learn.
Yeah.
I mean, now that he lives in Miami.
Oh, yeah, I'm
No,
sure.
my bad, Fort Lauderdale.
Once you live somewhere, it's easier to kind of like jump into it.
Oh, he kind of has to now.
Yeah, true.
He'd get away with it over in the other countries, but, you know, here I feel like it's like more of...
Yeah. Well, he
be
has
like
his
if-
tight circle too.
And
So.
I feel like if we moved to like, you know, I don't know, Spain or anywhere that, you know, speaks mainly Spanish, it'd be like we'd have to like kind of learn that.
You'd have to step up and learn, right?
Yeah. So, but it was good. It was a great experience, and I think you did mention that there's going to be a couple other guests, surprise guests, not on this episode, but future.
I wish on this episode. That's okay. We'll
in
get
the
all
future,
together soon.
yes,
Yeah.
we'll do
That
like
would
a
be fun.
yes, like maybe like a group like of us. That'd
Be
be
so
amazing.
fun. Yeah.
A reunion.
Oh,
A
yes.
reunion
That would be
episode?
epic. Everybody with their own.
Yes.
In the zone.
Even if like some of them have to like not Zoom call, but you know, to be virtual.
Yeah, for like Jared or somebody who's out of town. Shout out to all of you guys. We love you.
Yes.
Team
miss
Messi
you.
for life.
I don't know if you're watching right now, but if you are,
Well, I saw Aleja on earlier. I love you.
she's your next guest, I believe.
She is in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can't wait for that. I've missed her a lot. She's been playing professional soccer
Yes. that's
abroad,
amazing,
and so she's going to
amazing.
tell you all about that.
Can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah. So I'm excited that you're the first from the team to be on here,
I'm
kicking
really,
it off.
Really thankful to.
And you'll have to come back too because there's so much we can talk about, and
Oh, yeah.
we've covered a lot already. So you'll definitely be a repeat guest.
Yeah, and I'd love to, you know, you can talk about the movie further, whenever the premiere is.
Yeah, when it comes out, you'll have to come back, and we'll have to promote it for you guys.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Especially since you're the lead. That's huge.
Yeah, it's funny to like whenever people say that, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I am.
Right? Yeah.
I have been a lead in a couple others, independent films, and it's funny because like, you know, it's like it's cool to like say, oh, I've been in a movie, but like it's really the coolest thing for me, like I said, is like, yeah, I get the credits and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I was on like Amazon or whatever it is, but like
Yeah.
the people
Which
you
is cool.
meet, the connections,
Yeah.
and the things you learn,
So much more.
it's, you know, as an actor, that's really what I took from it, and that's what I do take from all my jobs, and it goes so much further than, oh yeah, here's, you know, yeah,
Check, right.
here's my movie, that's cool, you know, but then me personally, that's what I always take from it. It's just like I said, it just goes so much further. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could say the same thing.
I mean, I can hear how passionate you are about this. I can hear the enthusiasm when you talk about all this. So you're the perfect guest to have on here for people to be inspired and motivated. Like if you have this much interest or desire in what he's doing, the acting, the modeling, that desire is there for a reason. Give it a shot. Get your feet wet.
It's true. I mean, even if you have no skill at all, and like like I said, I'm not an A-list, but like I'm still training and working toward on my craft because it's always a work in progress. But there's opportunity on all levels,
Oh yeah.
and that's what people don't understand. There's literally opportunity at all levels, no matter where you are. You just
Yeah.
gotta put yourself out there.
Start
and,
now.
like I said, I've been saying, put in the work.
Yeah.
Like, really, really, really do it.
Yeah.
And that also goes for putting in the right work.
Yeah.
That also goes.
Be strategic.
But yeah, I mean that's really what you have to do if you want to do anything, and especially in this industry, that's super super tough.
It's true. So, for our real talk segment today, our topic is the realities of pursuing an acting career, which we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
But what are the myths versus the truths? Are there any that come to mind that is a myth that might deter somebody from like getting their feet wet, getting started, giving it a shot? Are there any truths that people should know that are like, that might be harsh, but hey, you're better off knowing it right now before you dive in so that like you're ready or your expectations are curved or you're realistic?
Right. I guess first myth that comes to mind is you don't instantly become famous when you become an actor.
Wait, what? There's a belief that actors have to move to cities like Los Angeles or New York, these days Atlanta. How true is that, in your opinion?
So, it's a hard thing to answer, but the way and I would look at it is yes and no. So starting off, no, because if you look at it as if you're comparing, like for example, Miami and LA, the pool of people, I guess you can even say the pool of fish in the pond is a lot smaller in Miami compared to LA because from my understanding, everybody's an actor in LA, and so there's a lot more competition, right?
Yeah.
So if you have somewhat similar opportunities in Miami and less competition, if you can, acting's acting, like I said before. So if you can train just like everybody else,
Right.
and you can learn your scripts and work with other actors, and grow your craft, and you can become like that number one fish or like that known person in your city where like people like, if I were to say, oh, Miami acting, oh, Tyler Miller pops up in mind. You know what I mean? Like that's essentially what you'd want to become. It's almost easier starting off to do that than to go into LA. Yes, you have more opportunities, but keep in mind the competition is a lot harder and just so
Small fish in a big pond.
Right. So if you were to build your craft here and you were able to do that successfully, it's a lot easier to go to another industry like
Transition
New York,
at that point.
LA, Atlanta, and you have a name for yourself, somewhat in your own mind, but you built your craft, you have experience, you've done some notable stuff in your city, and when you go there, and then it's like you're not gonna like spend as much money as far as like because you think about it, you'd have to move your whole life, right? If you say I live in Miami area, right? So that means that my whole life would have to pack up and move to LA, which is just as expensive, I guess. So it's not really that much price of change. But my whole life would have to move there, assuming that like I'm gonna make it or break it, right? And that's what I moved here for. So, yeah, you could do that, and that would open up your opportunity. But I feel that like if you can't even do it here, if you can't even do it in smaller ponds, how do you think it's gonna be different over there?
True. So it's almost like we're classifying this one more as a myth, and that the truth is, get started where you are.
But the way the world has, after COVID has geared itself is a lot of stuff is virtual. So you have the opportunity now to really do I can apply to anything in LA and Atlanta and New York and wherever else, Texas and wherever those major cities are.
As long as you're willing to pay to get to the audition. Or
No,
the
not
opportunity.
even that, because everything's self-tape, and it's cost efficient because it's in the eyes of like a business standpoint, because I'm paying another company like casting networks and backstage to do that, allocate that for me,
Right.
so I have opportunities.
But what about when it comes to the callback?
That's usually done over over self-tape. I mean, not self-tape. It's done virtually.
as well.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I said depends on how big the project is. I mean, eventually, but
Maybe they'll fly you out at
they
that
will.
point too.
They will if they're interested. If they're really interested.
There's truth to what you're saying.
So,
for sure.
like I said, and there's like, I can't tell you how many. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them where like those on like these TV shows and movies where like they were no-name actors. And
Yeah.
you see like their self-tape. It comes out like years
Yeah.
later. It's like this was their self-tape. And I'm like that's
love
what it is though. Like they submitted, on like just like everybody else, and in the room and filming on.
Yeah.
And they got booked. 'Cause
Same way it's possible for them.
it's exactly, and obviously, there also is a lot of like, kind of who you know type of thing in the industry. I mean, that's just how any business and anything is. So like, there's a lot of, if you're the
Yeah.
producer or director, just I always think about it that way. If you're the producer or director and like these A-list actors, like they're like your friends, and they're gonna make you money. Like then you have to audition. Like so, yeah, they're booked. Or, like,
Yeah.
I want them. Like I want them on my. I'm paying the money. This is my project. This is what I'm
Yep.
doing. And so.
That's why you see a lot of the same faces working together.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. But you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like that's why I said just be friends, with as many people as you can, and learn as much as you can, because at the end of the day, when that camera comes on you, that's gonna can you act or can't you act? You know what I mean?
Right. What are you gonna do? Are you
It's
gonna
like,
show
it's like
up?
you can only fake it for so long until
Right.
that camera comes on and you don't even know how to read a line, and it's like, oh gosh.
Oh,
It's
get
like, what
that
happened?
experience.
You made yourself so big, and now you can't. And I've seen that so many times.
Don't be all talk.
No, yeah, no, don't. No, because then it's like your nerves always get to you, and you'll never you just can't fake it. You really can't.
Put in the work.
Yes.
Should be like the sub theme of this episode.
Unless it's the Super Bowl commercial and you don't talk.
Then just smile and have fun.
Exactly.
So it's time for our Arigato Vibes jar tradition.
Oh, what's
So
that?
if you look at this jar to your left,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you to pull a random piece of paper out from there and read it for our viewers.
Just any of them?
Yeah.
All right. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. So read it out.
Yeah.
All right. You are capable of achieving greatness through every step you take. And I guess this is the person who said this or wrote this.
Yep, on the back.
You.
Hey, I figured I had to add one in there eventually.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, if I were to add on to this, you're capable. I totally believe in this. I think that everybody can achieve greatness. It's just as long as they're taking the steps, enjoying the process. Definitely enjoy the process, because nothing is skipped, and taking every single step and putting in the work. And then you can too achieve greatness. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I even take that for both of us, because we still have room for growth and things that we want to achieve.
Oh yeah, you're pumping me up right now.
And so I do believe that I love this. I really do. And that's for all the viewers, and for anything, not just acting, anything. Just really put in the work, believe in it, enjoy it, be happy.
I love it. Thank you for putting that insight into that one. I also want you to put your insight into the jar.
Oh.
So I
okay,
have
write my
this
own.
blank sheet for you.
Want me to put this back in the jar for somebody else?
You know what? Why not?
Yeah.
Do you think more people could hear that one?
Yeah, why not? Everybody's have their own intake on something else.
That's true. They might even take it a different way, apply it to someone else, right?
For sure.
So here's your blank one.
Shuck it up for you.
Thank you. Gotta remember to do that every episode. I put a pen there for you. So while I talk to our viewers about today's episode sponsor, go ahead and add
So
whatever you want.
my name, and then do I do like write,
Yeah, so on one side, go ahead and write your name and title. So actor, model, or actor Tyler Miller, whatever you want. And then on the other side, write whatever, either affirmation, statement, question, no rules.
I know exactly what I'm gonna put on there. I think you already know.
I can't wait to, I might sneak peek. Anyways, for those of you who have joined us live today, thank you so much. It means a lot. This is a brand new show. We haven't skipped a week yet. This is episode 6. So we're really excited. We have zero intention on slowing down, and we couldn't do it without our supporters who are here with us from day one. So our sponsor for today's episode is Arigato Vibes LLC. We offer virtual lessons, in-person lessons for guitar, singing, ukulele, piano, acting, drums, bass, songwriting. Anything creative that you're excited to learn about from what I just listed, reach out to podcast@arigatovibesstudios.com or info@arigatovibesstudios.com and find out about how you can sign up for lessons, sign up. You could gift a lesson to a niece or nephew. So back to my guest. Tyler, thank you for adding. Oh, you didn't add it yet.
Oh, yeah, I thought I was going to read it. Or you want to read it?
Well,
You already know what it
actually,
is.
well, if you really want to read it, we'll make an exception. But normally what happens is...
Oh, no, how about you read it to yourself, and then maybe someone will draw it.
Yeah, exactly. Is that
You're
okay?
gonna- yeah.
Okay,
You're
so
gonna
then
laugh.
you put it in. Oh, you want me to read it to myself? I love it. Okay.
She already knew what it was.
I literally did, but it still brought so much joy. I'm sure some of you guys can guess what it was. If you do, write it in the comments, and there's going to be some kind of
We'll
prize
give you
if
a
you're
thumbs
right.
up or thumbs down.
Yeah, maybe even a dollar prize amount for that one. Here, you put it in. It's your
All right,
energy.
all
It's
right.
your wisdom.
I believe that the next person's going to get this one, which is Alejo. I think she's going to get it. If not,
Ooh.
the next guest, which is...
Maybe Jared.
Jared.
Hey.
Jared's definitely getting it if she doesn't.
Tyler, this has been so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. I have to say, for being my first in-person podcast, my favorite.
Hey, I hope it stays that way for a hot second. But
No,
you're going to
for
be
sure.
on several cool ones.
Yeah.
So I won't take it personally if it's not. But it's awesome. I might not. It's awesome that we worked together and we met on such an amazing opportunity and project, a life-changing opportunity, a game changer for both of us. And it's cool
Right.
that we're here today, friends for life, working together on something else that's creative and just as motivating as inspiring as a commercial.
Yeah. I mean, I could say personally, just that one commercial has changed my life.
Same.
You
So
know,
I'm really
in all areas.
same. So I'm thankful to have met you on it.
You
I'm
know
thankful.
what I'm talking about.
Mic drop. Wait, these are screwed in, but 1,000%. So I'm really thankful for you being here today. I hope that you'll come back again.
Yes, I would love to. I would. Yeah, definitely.
I'll let you close today's episode. Anything you want to say to our viewers?
What do I want to say to our viewers? Like I said before, enjoy the process of whatever you're doing. Now, it doesn't only have to be acting. Put in the work, and you can achieve greatness. Mix yours into that. No, but it's true. I believe that's how it is. And then, the world really is funny how it works, and opportunities just open up every day. No, they really that's true.
And they lead to friendships like this. So
Yeah, yes. I mean, like, I wouldn't be here today if we didn't do that commercial and we didn't talk and meet.
so true.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, and yeah.
I'll see you again soon. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great night.